Welcome back. I'm Sai, and more the life and suffering of Sir Bronto Brante. Let's continue, shall we? Without any explanation, you probably watched the end of the last episode, so let's just get into it. A gift for the family. This last year has been an ordeal for your family. The pains taken to be ennobled by the sword, the close attention of the city aristocracy, the squabbles between Stefan and Gloria. Tonight, your preoccupied father has gathered the entire family around the table in the backyard. The sun has almost set, and there is a soft breeze. But instead of a meal in the open air, you are going to attend a family meeting. In the middle of the table, you see an open gilded box. It is full of jewels. Archduke Miranidas himself has bestowed this gift upon us. It is a surprise indeed. I thought you all had a right to know. Father unfolds a letter laying beside the box. Sir Robert Brante, I bestow this precious box upon you and your family as a symbol of the care with which I treat the people of my province. Pray accept this gift, and remember with whom the loyalty of the true nobles of Magra lies. Archduke of Magra, Tarquinius of the Milanidas. Okay, so this is clearly a bribe. Couldn't be more obvious. The family stares in amazement at the jewels sparkling in the last rays of sunshine. It's worth quite a fortune, but the Archduke is fully aware that I am on the side of Prefect Alborn and Overseer Gaius Tempest. Could he really expect our loyalty to be bought so brazenly? On the other hand, the Archduke is not demanding anything of us, and our family has borne a lot of expenses recently. Father, no one is forcing you to side with Milandras. Who are we in comparison to the Archduke anyway? We must not anger him by refusing his gift. The jewels are certainly welcome. They are worthy of being shared with the best families of Anisote. They will pave our way to the nobility of the sword. Mother shakes her head glumly. Oh, Robert, I have a feeling this gift bodes ill. It may be an impertinence on my part, but I do not want our family to be indebted to the Archduke. Certainly not. Accepting gifts from Milanidas? He's infamous for oppressing the commoners and robbing villages blind with his taxes. This isn't your decision, Gloria. It's a matter of our family's honor and reputation. Please, don't start bickering again. Let Bronto say what he thinks we should do with this gift. You are the center of attention now. Your vote will be the deciding factor. Lucky us. Give the jewels to prominent nobles as gifts. You accept the jewels from the Archduke. You and Stefan will give them away as gifts for the local nobility to gain their favor. Hell no. Decline the gifts. You convince father to send the precious box back to the Archduke. Thankfully, we could do this. You accept the jewels from the Archduke in order to sell them for a good price. We will decline. 100%. The Archduke is putting taxes on the commoners despite the other taxes. Fuck that guy. Looking the family patriarch straight in the eye, you state that such a gift is not to be accepted. The Archduke will see it as an oath of allegiance to him. It would be better to provoke his anger than to fall into his trap. You ask father to send the box back at once. Well, I suppose you're right, Bronto. It is far too dangerous, not only for me, but for the entire family. I'll write to the Archduke. Bring me my quill. Your decision, father, but please consider how much we stand to lose. There are no jewels I would not renounce to keep you safe. Mother, Nathan, and Gloria cast grateful looks at you. Even Stefan accepts father's decision after some grumbling. You spend the rest of the night around the table resting, conversing pleasantly, and amusing yourselves. For the first time in a long while, there is nothing casting a shadow over your home. The Archduke does not deign to reply to father's letter. No one expected otherwise. Does the Archduke count you among his enemies now? Or has he forgotten about your existence? But why waste time guessing when you have a moment of peace to enjoy? There's only one disadvantage. You do not have a single coin tucked away in the family treasury. Yep. Is this exceeding it? No, it's not. It just seems like it on the scale, but it's 10. Okay, even more willpower. Prepared for anything. That's what I like to see. Oh, here we go. This is the secret society, the race, the different race. The Latari Society. Another winter has come to Magra. It has been almost a year since your return home. The order has gradually been gaining power and influence in Anisote. The Inquisition ward is no longer as deserted as it once was. It is now filled with the hushed voices of young inquisitors and the heavy echoing footfalls of the champions of fate. I haven't said this before, but the champions of fate remind me of like the zealots in Game of Thrones. You know, in King's Landing. Anyway, you and Jean are only assigned cases of low importance. Inquisitor Ulrich has taken it upon himself to investigate all cases related to Patriarch Cassius personally. Rarely, if ever, does Ulrich ask the two of you for assistance, but today for all days, unexpectedly, he has requested a word with you. For the first time ever, you visit his cell, a spacious yet aesthetically furnished room. Ulrich is sitting at a plain-looking stool behind a humble desk when you enter. A lash hangs on the wall across from you. There is a disturbing air about it. Inquisitor Bronto, there is a certain special case I'd like to entrust to you. There is a society that exists in Anisote. They study the culture of the Latari, an ancient civilization that is long extinct. This is a society only for nobles. Most of its members are young and carefree. Come from a noble family, you know their manners and their etiquette, which is why you will be going there. By the will of the twins, the parents of one such carefree young nobleman have found a book in his possession. An old book indeed. They wrote it here. He points at a book lying on the desk in front of him. The front of the metal-bound tome bears an engraving. Vedas? Vedas? Huh, interesting. Vedas of the Latari people, translation by Master Newman, professor of the Imperial College. Upon his family's insistence, this noble, a young man by the name of Ornud al-Rankert, paid us a visit. He claimed he had done nothing wrong and insisted that the society's meetings are just like any other noble party. The only unusual thing about them is their theme. They read the poetry of an extinct civilization. They wear peculiar clothing. They hide their faces behind masks of gold, the same color as the skin of the Latari. But he let it slip that a certain mystery is about to take place at their next gathering. His explanation was quite incomprehensible, but the young Elder Rankert was very excited indeed. I convinced him to donate his invitation and mask to us. His codename is Ael. The society has not gained much popularity just yet, but they must have a patron of considerable influence. What if Patriarch Cassius is the one behind it? And the society is what we have been warned about. One way or another, we must arrest the heretics and make Cassius pay for allowing such a sect to exist. Your mission is to find out what they are up to. You must act quickly before they learn that we have Ella Rankart. My squad of champions of fate will follow you. They will assist you in rounding up the apostates. You know that at last you finally have an important case to investigate. You recall the history books you read and studied long ago. The Latari were an old civilization, an ancient race of magic wielders who worshipped false gods and even enjoyed a brief alliance with the Empire. Around 200 years ago, the Latari disappeared from the face of the world just like all the other lesser civilizations. Father Ulrich presents you with a gilded mask. The society's meeting place is a noble mansion on the outskirts of Anisote. As you ride a carriage to the Latari society, you lean back on the cushions and close your eyes. What do you know of this dead civilization? The most important thing you can remember is that the Latari believed that true existence was the product of their own will. They thought the world around them was an illusion, a dream of their own making. That's sort of giving me goosebumps. There are quite a few religions or quite a few ideologies, I guess, that think like this. Even some old shamanistic ones. And you can find this, in a lot of things. Anyway, moving forward. You cannot help but wince at the thought. The world was created by the will of the twins, not the will of mortal creatures. No wonder they read the word of the Latari. The carriage stops. You meet with a small squad of the champions of fate in an alley near the mansion. The squad is led by one Captain David Agoranem, a grizzled, muscled swordsman hailing from Arknea. His natural grim face is made even more hideous by a number of battle scars. Good evening, Inquisitor Brante. We'll be right nearby. Give us a sign and we'll come to your aid. The mansion is large but inconspicuous. You see noble carriages in the courtyard, many more than you had expected. The gatekeepers bow and open the gate as soon as they see you. It seems the mask is enough to convince them you belong inside. You are ushered into a dressing room of sorts. A change of clothes already awaits you inside. It is unlike any garment you have ever seen. A square of flowing, sparkling cloth with clasps and cords to keep it in place. The servants help you into this bizarre garb. You cannot help but feel rather silly and uneasy dressed like this. But on your chest behind the costume rests the symbol of the twins, filling you with strength. The champions of fate await nearby, ready to come to your aid. You can do this. I think it would be smarter to get rid of the cross, when you are in an undercover mission, but whatever. Next, a large hall. The windows are covered in black cloth to keep prying eyes away. What seems at first to be a strange performance is playing out before your very eyes. You hear drowning, unfamiliar music coming seemingly from nowhere. People fill the hall dressed in flowing robes and delicate gilded masks with narrow slits for eyes. The people stand and move unexpectedly close to one another, their hands on each other's shoulders as they talk. You approach one of the groups, hoping to overhear the subject of their conversation, and almost recoil when several arms reach out at once, attempting to grasp you tenderly by the shoulder. Steeling yourself, you put a hand on another person's forearm. You do not remember the last time you allowed yourself to touch another human being. The masked people seem friendly and genial. No one appears surprised by your insecurity. They continue their conversations as they accept you into their circle. Is this a sex cult? Their conversations are also quite out of the ordinary. You hear unfamiliar names that could belong to the legendary heroes of the Latari or people here who have taken them as secret identities. You hear references to books you do not know and the emotions these people felt while reading them. You listen as though in a dream. You hear several voices singing in a distant corner of the room. There are no lyrics to the song. Each voice maintains its own note. Together they form a tender, softly aching melody. The circle of people next to yours begins to move in a strange, slow dance. Their movements are unlike any dance you know. Their intertwined arms become an embrace, and that embrace then becomes intertwined arms yet again. You see golden faces moving all around, and you suddenly realize with perfect clarity that you are part of this dance too. You are one of them, one with them. You are more than you have ever been before. It is so alluring. It is true greatness. It is power, limitless, endless power. Slow down there, Palpatine. Whenever I see this screen, I always get scared before reaching the end of the text and decide that I died. Don't scare me like that. Your back is perfectly straight now, your head held high, as though you have actually glimpsed another world through other eyes during the short time you have spent here. What other eyes? The eyes of a noble? The eyes of the Latari? The entire world is but the dream of the Latari. The symbol of the fade grows very warm beneath your clothing. It clears your mind and helps you break free from the illusion. You are here for a purpose. Without a sound, you mouth a prayer. The younger, defender of the world, aid me, so I may serve thee further. Bring order back into my soul. The elder, the spirit of truth and love, aid me, so I may bear thy word further. Fill my mind with purpose. You hear whispers of admiration all around you. An Archnean woman of below average height, clad in a long cloak and a silver mask, descends the stairs into the hall. Oh, Lady Octavia has something truly special for tonight, says a voice next to you. Huh, Lady Octavia, huh? Didn't we have the option to meet her in one of the earlier stages in the city, and that's what I assumed was the Lotless, but turns out it was probably the Latari that we missed out on, right? I think so. And there she is, the secret patron of the Latari Society, Archduchess Octavia Milanides, the Archduke's own daughter, heiress to the province of Magra. She smiles at everyone gathered here, her pitch black eyes surveying the hall. The Latari were a great civilization with a wondrous and beautiful culture. Their disappearance from the world is an immense tragedy. Thank you all for coming. We have been united by a shared aspiration to understand the culture of the Latari. We have learned so much already, but the mystery of the circle of Latari remains inaccessible to us. Today, some of you shall aid me as we investigate this mystery. Please close your eyes and listen. The time is coming when what must be said, when the thought becomes the word, when the word becomes the world. Thus spake the Latari. And at this hour we have come together to form this circle, to make our thoughts reality. The Latari made us with the word, and with ourselves we shall make the world. Thus spake the Latari. Only that which is unchanging exists. Only that which is real is eternal. Motion is death. All that changes is an illusion that makes naught of aught. Thus spake the Latari. Only one thing in this world is unchanging, the Latari. The Latari is the world, for it is all that is real. Thus spake the Latari. As she speaks, Octavia moves elegantly through the crowded hall. Her words enchant and mesmerize. The people in the hall are swaying, seemingly entranced. Octavia stops and whispers something to several chosen members. They walk away deeper into the mansion. Octavia approaches you as well. This close, you can smell her perfume. Come with us to Ael. The long hallway ends in a dark room. Octavia is the last to enter. Why do I have a feeling she knows? She knows that we are undercover. Enter the circle, O chosen ones, and join hands. Direct your thoughts and feelings towards the circle's center, towards me, Become one with me. Become one inside the circle. Become Latari. One of the people in the circle begins a droning melody. Others join in the song. Candles burn. There are strange, ritualistic symbols inscribed on the floor. You look at them closer. They depict colorful, intertwined dragons. A long, thin knife appears in Octavia's hands. Oh no, is this one of those cults? A suicide cult? The gods are merciful to us. The Latari, their chosen kin, they granted us the sacred laws. The one true fate resides therein. We, Latari, were thus the first creations of immortal gods. The moon sees all it comes across, yet none are equal to our cause. Death is our enemy no more, eternal foe of mortal life. Should it come closer than before, then neither run to it nor hide. The tempo increases, the song becoming disjointed, chaotic, yet somehow orderly and right. The sacred symbol under your costume feels so hot it burns your flesh. Something is happening, and it is offensive in the eyes of the twins. So heed the law of Latari, one older than the very sky. He who wakes shall prosper, he who sleeps shall die. As she speaks these final words, Octavia Milanidas discards her cloak. She is naked, her beautiful body completely uncovered. The song reaches its climax. Those standing in the circle sway from side to side, their eyes rolled back, they are lost in a trance. Octavia holds the knife to her wrist. She pierces the skin, then makes a long cut along her arm. Bluish blood begins to trickle down her fingers and onto the floor. Octavia raises the... Oh, that's the same. No, sorry. Octavia raises the knife above her other wrist. A moment more and the ritual will reach its culmination. Should you intervene? Oh, this is... Arrest the apostates. You rush out of the circle of Latarian, call for the champions of fate. Preach to them, which is not accessible to us. The leader of the circle, Octavia Mirandes, must be guided back to her lot. You will help her return to the true fate along with her followers. Or become a part of the circle. You remain in the circle of Latari, hoping to behold a new facet of creation. Holy moly. Hold up, just a second, okay? Your earthly life is over. You leave the world forever and face the judgment of the twins. Step through death. Maybe this is not connected to the Latari portion. Where is the... Where is the one about the Latari? The ritual. You participate in the enigmatic ritual of a long dead race. Join the Latari circle. Okay. I'm going... The twins are against this, right? And how are we going to proceed to change the religion to new faith? But what about this? This seems very cultish, right? I don't know about this. Maybe we should arrest them. But the curiosity will get the better of me, so I will become a part of the circle. I must know what happens. You are part of the circle. You are the circle. You are Latari. Thou art Latari. The chain that has been broken is mended at last. You are now part of the circle, and the circle is now you. Octavia Milanidas cuts a deep gash in her right arm. As her head rises, her eyes already begin to dim. Softly, weakly, she drops to her knees. Her beautiful head falls to her chest. Slowly, she collapses. The chant continues. You are one, you are Latari, you are the truth. Beyond you, there is nothing. The world around grows dull. The fragments are falling away. Your bodies, the walls, the houses, the city, everything grows dull and disappears in the light. There is only the Latari. Beyond them, there is nothing. The world was but a dream, and you have awoken from it. Another pause, sorry. There is a game, Planescape Torment, I believe, and there is a race in that. I think that game is sort of built on either D&D rules, the Dungeons and Dragons rules, or something similar to that. But there is a race in that I always think it's the Githyanki, the same as it is in Baldur's Gate. An alien race, but it might not be, okay? So I might be wrong on this. But I think they call them Gith in that. And they have this same belief that there's only white empty space, and it's a very old game, by the way. There's only white empty space, and they make reality with will. So everything they imagine will become real. That's their plane of existence. Anyway, just an interesting, morsel, if you will. Continuing. The world has been cleansed of all that is empty and false. You are pure and free from passion and fear, doubt and desire. Your attention latches onto the last thing that remains in this world apart from yourself, the shining pillar. And from the peak, two silhouettes are watching you. Or they are probably mad. And they speak to you. Hot metal burns on your chest. The world regains its shape. You were asleep, you realize. You were only dreaming that you were awake. You open your eyes and clutch the red-hot symbol of the twins on your chest. The people in the circle are unconscious, lost in trance. The body of Octavia Milandas lies on the floor, fading away into nothing. She has died a lesser death. You begin to feel sick. Your head is spinning. Your legs feel numb as you stumble out of the room. Soon you collapse on the floor, unable to walk any further. It is hard to breathe. And then, darkness. You open your eyes and realize that you are still very weak. You find yourself in a comfortable bed, undressed. The thick curtains are shut tight. You have no idea whether it is day or night. Beside your bed is a familiar silhouette, shrouded in a long cloak. Wait, we actually met her, haven't we? Weren't you the girl? Remembers me, that's right. She was the woman who dropped the handkerchief and then had me punched by her guards. I know who you are, Inquisitor Bronto. You were one of us tonight. It will not happen again. I am leaving Anisotta. I will you not to search for me. Moreover, I insist that you never speak of what happened to you last night. If you do, your order will learn of everything you did. How you stood in the circle with heretics, how you shunned the twins. And if that happens, your pyre will burn much sooner than mine, and my family will do everything in our power to make sure the Brante bloodline is never ennobled by the sword. I hope I have made myself clear. Farewell, Inquisitor. We will not meet again. The woman heads for the door. A narrow ray of light cuts between the curtains to illuminate her face. You see protruding cheekbones, abyssal, almond-shaped eyes, skin that glints like gold. Was it a trick of the light, or a mask? No Archnian can have such golden skin. Huh. Octavia Milandas leaves, and you fall into oblivion once again. You saw the twins, and they saw you. They see you always, from now on. You know that everything in this world is dust. Everything but their will, their love, and their law. The encircled cross has seared its mark into your chest. In your delirium, you see yourself standing before an enormous crowd, thousands of golden faces, all looking at you. You have to tell them of the twins' truth. You grasp for the right words, search for any prayer at all, but only unfamiliar and trancing words escape your lips. They have no meaning, they have no end, and the golden faces repeat after you. You leave the mansion the next morning, greeted by the incredulous stares of the champions of fate. Back at the Inquisition ward, you face Father Ulrich. There is no need to waste our time on those nobles, you assure him. Their rituals and mysteries are mere attempts to introduce a measure of variety into their world-weary lives. Nothing but drunken revelry and debauchery. The members of the society are no guiltier of this than any other nobles. You never mention Lady Miranda's or anything else that took place within the circle of Latari. What an unproductive way to end the year. I was sure the Latari society would give the order some influence against the local nobles. Now, we'll have to find another way to get to the Patriarch. Are you sure you have nothing else to tell me? You shake your head vigorously. The Inquisitor studies you intently as you try your best to remain calm and composed. Very well. Dismissed. For the next several days, you cannot help but think of these events again and again. What exactly happened to you that night? The words that were spoken in the circle, were they true? Were you Latari? Were you all Latari? Your first year back in Anisota ends in self-doubt and inner turmoil. This is good. I think that the Inquisition power is going down. Tolerance of fates is probably good. Yeah, it is, because it leads to the power of the new fates. Interesting outcome. Interesting how the twins got angry to just put it in the same basket what just happened. The twins got angry for us for experiencing whatever that ritual was. And it seems like Octavia turned into Latari. So strange. And I also wonder what would have been the other outcome if way back at the beginning as kids we would have not approached her with the handkerchief. So she wouldn't remember us. Oh well. I like it when in games super old choices come back in the far future, because you have no way to, like, save scum it. You probably don't want to do it because it was so far. You participate in the enigmatic ritual of a long dead race. We did it. An old friend. Night is falling over Anisotte. The stifling heat gives way to an eagerly anticipated freshness. After a day at work, you stroll home at a leisurely pace. You turn down a side street that you have known since you were a little boy. It is as if your legs are acting of their own accord, bringing you to the place of your childhood. Childhood play, the remnants of the wooden fort. So much has changed since the days when you used to play here with your little friends. Engrossed in your memories, at first you fail to notice that you are not alone here. A tall figure in the uniform of a Legion officer approaches you. You see unruly brown hair and a twinkle in his eye. It is Thomas. Ah, that's a surprise. Hi, Brante. Fancy running into you the moment I'm back in town. Your childhood friend puts his arms around you. Our battalion got transferred here recently. We're under the command of the Magra Legion now. I'm keeping the peace and maintaining order in my very own province. Well, why don't we catch up? Let me buy you dinner. We have a little chat. Remember the old days? Thomas cuts himself short. You suddenly notice how much older he looks. His face has become sharper and rougher, and his eyes are filled with exhaustion rather than their usual mischievous sparkle. I should warn you though, Bronto, I ain't the best company nowadays. I managed to get myself some powerful enemies already. I'm a friend who could taint your good name, so if you'd rather not be seen with me, well, I understand. The smile on his face starts to fade. Haha. This is what I was thinking when I accepted his ring. We can't say no. Alright. Have dinner with Thomas. You aren't about to miss a chance to spend some time with your old friend, no matter what kind of danger he's in. And I would say yes to it anyway, but that's another thing. I love this background music. You give Thomas your hand. You shake hands firmly. So, you haven't forgotten your old friend, Brante. That's the way it ought to be. Well, come on then. You go to a tavern. Sorry, just the loud noises. You go to a tavern, reminiscing about your childhood antics on these very streets along the way. You choose a table in the far corner of the tavern. Thomas orders a bottle of good wine and some food. You talk about your latest case, about your first years back in Anisote. You share family news, your quest to become nobles of the sword, the quarrels between your elder brother and sister, your mother's health. Thomas nods with concern. Sounds like you had some tough times. Your family has always been different. Mine, on the other hand, is the same as it ever was. My pa is always in his workshop, and my ma's always doing chores. But look at me. I came home a service-class nobleman, although it doesn't bring me much joy anymore. Thomas is suddenly grim. You ask your friend to share his troubles with you. He quickly glances around the room and lowers his voice. Well, I'm a captain in the Magran Legion now, and who's our commander? His Excellency Dorius Otton. That's right. I serve under the very same Archnian whose toes I stepped on back in Eterna, and you better believe he remembers me. I'm afraid things are gonna end real bad. But hey, I figured it out somehow. Don't trouble yourself over it. Apart from that, well, it's the usual service. We impose order in uppity towns and villages, protect the province, that sort of thing. And we run drills all day long, obviously. If only you knew how sick I am of them barracks, Bronto. I've thought about starting a family. My ma keeps telling me to find a nice girl to marry. She says it's high time I got hitched. It is completely dark and you are still talking. Finally, Thomas remembers that his parents are waiting for him. You get up from the table, leaving some dirty dishes and quite a few empty bottles behind. On your way out, you catch a glimpse of a nondescript figure following you to the door. As you walk alongside Thomas, through your home neighborhood, you keep glancing over your shoulder, but the shadow that was following you has disappeared. You reach your street and stop for a while. In the semi-darkness between your family homes, just as you used to all those years ago. Bye, Brante. I hardly ever come to Anisote these days. Our battalion is always on the march all over the province, but twins willing will see each other again soon. You advise your friend to safeguard his every life. Oh, that hurt our honor. Okay, we are maxed out on willpower, so we should definitely spend some. It is concerning though that we didn't have too much choices related to willpower, if at all. I don't think we had any at all. So that means this whole thing is a build up for something big, where we probably will have to make choices based on using willpower. We should be wise about it. In the shadow of the tree, as the Archduke and Overseer fight for power in Magra, the common people bear the brunt of their conflict. Incensed speeches begin to fill the city. The temple by the white tree seems to be the only place in the city free from the endless talk of taxation. Today, the worshippers in the temple are few, all of them poor people from nearby districts. Some thank the twins for the peace they have brought to the world, some beg for a sign from above. One little boy is on his knees praying for prosperity. He has yet to learn that it is an error to rely on the twins' aid even as you pray, for they are not our servants but the rulers of this world. You approach the altar, bow your head and whisper a prayer for unity in the Brante home. O Elder, the spirit of truth and love, I thank thee for my family, aid them and let them abide in peace and tolerance. Though our woes may hide the gift of thy love, may we never refuse thy bounty. To your sorrow, the strife in your family home has proven to be far worse than you had expected from the letters. You never thought that the quarrel between Gloria and Stefan would go this far. The temple gradually fills with people as noon approaches. Midday is the hour of the sermon. A priest steps up to the altar, leaning on a staff. The trim of his white cassock is embroidered with gold. He bears a book at his side entitled Lives of the Twins. It is rarely quoted even among religious scholars. Most of the faithful rely on the teachings of Isetius. You recognize this man from the sacred conclave, Abbot. Oh, it's not Abbot, sorry, Abbot Leonard. Or is it just misspelled? Brothers and sisters, today I shall speak of the new faith, of its nature and its meaning. Many among you already know it in your hearts, but now I seek to find the words to help you understand it with your minds. For our hearts and minds alike forever seek the path to the twins. We have all known the doctrines of the old belief and the teachings of Isetius since childhood. Prophet Isetius, who lived more than 1,000 years ago, wrote that the twins granted us all 3 lots to govern us. And 3 lots there are, one for each estate of the empire, nobles, commoners, and priests. And so, more than 1,000 years, we have lived by these lots, and by the teachings of Isetius. For it is said that as you follow your lot, you are brought closer to the twins, and after the true death that awaits us all at the end of the path, we shall be brought to the peak of the shining pillar. But now, I implore you to look at the blessed Archnean Empire. What was it like during the time of Isetius, and what is it like now? Nowadays, no commoner may live by the sweat of his brow alone. In his home and in his trade, even a commoner must lead and rule. And what of the nobles? Their lot commands them to fight. But where will they fight? If the blessed Archnean Empire now extends from sea to shining sea, when all her enemies are gone? The lots of Isetius were once our path to the twins, but now they have become our shackles. Can you ever reach the peak if you walk a path that is impassable? The law that Isetius gave cannot say. The old belief has no more answers for us, only questions. I have been a priest for over 30 years, and every day I have considered this question and found no answers. That is, until our mentor, Fotis, appeared. Fotis said, "He who breaks beneath the burden of his lot shall be guilty of the worst sin of all, the sin of rejecting the twins. Is this how we are to reach the peak of the pillar? Is this what the twins want from us?" And Fotis said, "If the empire in which we live has changed over time, should not the faith change along with it?" And the new faith says, "Do not confuse your worldly life and the estate into which you were born with your spiritual life, where each of us must find the twins on his own, and so may every person find his lot, his own path to the twins. If a noble must suffer in order to purify his heart and fill it with the love of the twins, then such is his path. And if a commoner enjoys the fruits of her labor and thanks to the twins of their gifts, then let this be her path to the top of the shining pillar. The priest's calling is to offer guidance so that each of us can find his way to the twins, to their law, will, and love, and thus to bliss in the hereafter." Many servants of the Church still persevere in their rejection of the new faith. They find it difficult to reject what they have long considered to be unshakable foundation of all existence. They find it difficult to face the truth. Let us pray to the twins that the guiding light of the new faith will find them as well. Most people in the temple kneel and bend their heads in silent prayer. The abbot prays along with them. Some, however, remain on their feet. These people shake their heads with the expressions of distrust and disapproval. The sermon ends, you feel it is time for you to leave, but then you notice the abbot motioning for you to stay. He walks up to you with a smile as if seeing an old friend. He gestures for you to sit on a pew. Inquisitor Bronto, we have not been introduced yet. I am Father Leonard, but you probably know that by now. And how do I know you? Why, it's no miracle. A good friend of mine, Augustin Alborn, told me about you. He's a friend of your family. Yeah, he's a good guy as well. Sir Alborn is a long-standing follower of the new faith, and I have taken it upon myself to act as his counselor in matters of the faith. That is certainly good to know, but what does Abbot Leonard want from you? Okay, so earlier that was probably a typo. I am aware that the Inquisition has come to Magra to investigate a report against Patriarch Cassius. I am aware of this because I was the one who wrote the report. You stare at the Abbot in surprise. What could possibly have motivated him to do this? You see, the Patriarch and I have known each other for many years. We used to engage in debates quite often, on the nature of the twins, on the teachings of Isis and Fotis, and the path that served to guide people to the peak. For all those years, matters such as these were of great concern to Cassius. He used to remember the purpose of his service at all times. He used to truly care for people, but now something has changed him. As he is now all Cassius desires is power, his sermons are filled with lies and pretense. He has gained the support of the old believers, and now he accuses us of apostasy and heresy against the twins. But in truth, he serves the twins no longer. Our opinions often differed, but my most recent conversation with Cassius left me terrified. I expect him to accuse the new faith once again of straying from the true path to the peak, but the Patriarch suddenly questioned the importance of guiding people to the twins at all. The Patriarch of Magra, of all people, told me this, Pronto. The man who addresses the twins in the name of the entire congregation. The man who must be the embodiment of purity and virtue for his flock. I wrote my report and sent it to the order immediately after we spoke. I'm glad to see you got here so quickly. But if you ever find the proof of my words, what will you do? What awaits Magra if the sacred tribunal of the Inquisition condemns Cassius? You may have noticed the delicate situation in our province by now. Magra is the birthplace of the new faith, and many worshippers have been eager to take the teachings of Fotis to heart, and yet the priests in Magra remain deeply bound by the old traditions. Can you imagine the chasm of misunderstanding that now separates the clergy from their flock? And yet, should Patriarch Cassius be cast out of the faith, the conclave will most likely elect another ardent old believer in his place. The gulf between the clergy and the fold, the old faith and the present day, it will only grow deeper. It is my opinion, however, that there is another way out, which is why I must beg you for your aid. Tell me, if you may, what is the foundation of every faith and belief? It's not books or rituals or temples, it's people. Our church has forgotten this. But it is the people who must choose the guide they will follow to the shining pillar. I know you came to Anisote to weed out heretics and apostates, but I am begging you, please do not judge in haste. The fear of punishment paralyzes those who are on the way to the new faith. Please allow them to seek answers on their own. They might stumble along the way, but this is the price we must pay to blaze our own trail. And when all is said and done, the new faith will be our salvation, for Magra, for the Empire, and for every person who lives within it. Alright, thankfully we cannot choose this. Point out the flaws of the new faith. You point out the flaws and inconsistencies in Fotis' teachings to Father Leonard and refuse to help him. Or we just straight up refuse him. You state that you will only serve the interests of the Inquisition, or we help him. It's an obvious choice. You agree to help the new believers. You see a kernel of truth in Father Leonard's words. If you grant people the opportunity to seek the peak of the pillar on their own, they will be able to form a new church and find new faith in the twins. This new faith will not be imposed upon them, but will come from their own hearts. You promise to show mercy to those who seek their own path, to the elder and the younger. You promise to help the new faith grow stronger and find answers where the old faith could not. When it comes to electing a new patriarch, it must be done by the people and not the clergy, who are entrenched in antiquated, outdated traditions. Father Leonard smiles and offers you his hand. Thank you, brother. May the truth reveal itself to you. May it fill you. Thank you, a promise is made. Finally, we are on the path to the new faith. You look at him intently. After a long pause, you tell him that the truth is to follow the path of the twins with a pure purpose and an open heart. They need nothing more, and neither do you. You promised the abbot to defend the teachings of the new faith. It was high time. The call of the ancestors. Today is a big day for the Brante family, the day your family line started, the day when you remember all your ancestors. Tonight, everyone who bears the name Brante must descend into the family crypt to keep vigil by the tombs. This is the time to surrender yourself to your ancestors and hear their will. So this is basically Halloween then. The entire family prepares for the event in silence. Stefan has been choosing his apparel since morning, praying anxiously under his breath all the while. The air has a special place in the family vigil. Even Mother is planning to go with you, though Father tries to talk her out of it. Lydia, I beg of you, stay home. We are far too weak for an all-night vigil in the crypt. Gloria, would you be so kind as to stay with your mother since you cannot, join us anyway? Gloria answers in a muffled voice. As you wish, Sir Robert. The late Sir Gregor would only be enraged to see Mother there. We all remember how their last encounter ended. Father nods curtly, avoiding Gloria's gaze, but at the moment your attention is drawn to a nose in the foyer. Nathan staggers through the door, stumbling over his own feet. He reeks of cheap wine and filth. I am not late, am I? Everyone gazes at him in consternation. Nathan almost falls into Mother's and Gloria's arms. Distressed, they fuss over him. Stefan eyes his youngest brother coldly. I expected nothing more of you, Nathan. Why even speak of duty to your family when you can't even manage to live by the commoner's lot? Go lie down in the pantry and stay out of our sight. Father, Bronto, it's time. Let's go. Alongside Father and Stefan, you descend into the family crypt. You cannot help but remember paying your last respects to your grandfather 9 years ago. You light the lamps. Dim, eerie flames illuminate the shrine. In the middle of it stands a magnificent stone tomb containing the long-decayed remains of Gregor Brante. You take your place around the crypt and kneel. The all-night vigil has begun. At first, your ancestors remain silent. Each of you is left with their own thoughts. Then a low murmur passes around you. The shadows in the corner of the room deepen. The voices grow stronger. You know that the ancestors of Gregor Brante, long-forgotten commoners, whom you never knew, are trying to talk to you. But now memory of them has come to life in the darkness of the crypt. They are pleading for something, demanding it of you, calling out to you, screaming. Finally, you all hear that painfully familiar, deep, imperious voice echo from the far end of the chamber. It's been a long time since I've seen you all. I hope you bear good tidings. All this time I've been waiting for you to fulfill my mission. Remember, as long as I am in your blood, I will give you no peace. I did not have my family and noble just to see our line cut short. Our blood tide must join the grand flow of the empire, and then each of my descendants will inherit nobility forever and ever. But I do not see any of you before my tomb. Where are you hiding? Where is the head of our family, the man who will speak to me? Where is the man who will heed my will? Father rises from his knees and makes his way toward grandfather's stone tomb, the source of that booming voice. But Stefan suddenly pushes him out of the way. Father takes an indignant step forward, but Stefan firmly bars the way. Stop it, Stefan. You are my heir, but you are not the head of this family. Father, it is not you that Sir Gregory is addressing. Earning the nobility of the sword is my duty to him. He has long forsaken any hope of seeing you achieve it. You must understand that I am the one who will fulfill that duty. Stefan does not let him pass. Father breathes heavily in anger. You can all but feel the frantic beating of both their hearts resonating somewhere within you. Both your father and brother seem to have forgotten that you are here too. Even the restless voices of your ancestors have grown hushed, waiting for the outcome of this confrontation. Obviously, we cannot step forward. We do have the blood tide, which I really hope in the future won't be a hindrance. But we can't do that because we are not nobles. Robert Brante remains the head of the family, side with father, or supports Stefan. Alright, I think in order to have more wealth, have more reputation, unity will go down, though, if we choose Stefan. But Stefan is really the only one who could get into the sword line. There's no way, there's no other way. No Nathan, no Gloria. Robert can't do anything anymore. We can't either. But I think I don't look well upon this, that he's just pushing his dad aside. So I will side with father. You block Stefan's way. Your ponderous voice fills the dark crypt. You demand that your brother step back. The head of your family is your father, Robert Brante, and so it will be as long as he lives. Could your brother have forgotten that it is part of the noble lot to acknowledge and honor seniority? Your father is the man who must hear and accept your ancestors' will. Stefan tries to maintain his composure, but even in the dark you can see his face twitch. Brother, you don't understand. I'm not defying father's seniority, but I am the man who bears this duty to our grandfather. He cannot remain a mere witness while the future of our blood tide runs through our fingers. You resolutely push your brother to one side whether he wants to or not. He will give way to the head of the family. Father catches his breath and approaches grandfather's tomb. So it's you, Robert. Have you come to disappoint me yet again? Stefan is right. I have not put my hopes in you for quite some time. If anyone will lead the Brante family to glory, it will be my grandson. Stefan clenches his fists and whispers something to himself. I'm doing my utmost, father. We are closer to becoming nobles of the sword than ever before. The overseer looks upon us with favor. Just a couple more years and your dream will come true. This must be your dream too, Robert. But you still cater to your fondlings, Lydia and Gloria, risking a permanent blemish upon the Brante name, my name. Dead though I may be, my will lives on. Heed it at last. Get rid of that troll of Gloria and devote yourself to your true family. Otherwise, you will lead our family to shame and ruin. Father hesitates for a moment. No, father, this is impossible. Even if I must defy your will, I am responsible for Gloria. My honor and my consciousness will not allow me to do what you demand. You must accept this or keep on fighting me for all eternity. The voice of your deceased ancestor fades away. He seems to have left this realm, but then his voice suddenly booms from the other side of the crypt. Stefan, you are the heir of this family. Your duty by blood is to earn us a place in eternity. Do not take after your spineless father. Do what must be done. Cleanse our family of wickedness. Stefan is shivering. He replies in an unsteady voice. But Gloria, I can't. Stefan checks himself. I will do my duty to my family, Sir Gregor. Whatever the price, I will pay it. The crypt is completely silent once more. You are alone again. You see tears glistening on Stefan's face. Without uttering a word, he goes outside. Father clasps his arms firmly around you. You feel him let out a sigh of sorrow and relief. The vigil is over. Wait. Oh, I cannot see. Did the relationship with Stefan just increase? Did I see that right? So we might have made the right choice either way. Oh, I don't get why we lost willpower. Or maybe it just didn't show that father option would do that? The will and the law. Okay, so there's no follow-up to that right now. Tell you what, in that case I think this is a good point to an end of this episode. And we should pick it up from here next time. Thank you guys for watching. Glad quite a few of you enjoyed this series. And yeah, we will keep going and see where it will end up. Thank you. Bye.